We continue talking about public relations in Western Europe and legacy countries, and now let's take a closer look at Germany. Germany is a major driver of the European economy. It ranked number 4 in the world after the United States, China, and Japan. Its approach to the domestic economy represents a synthesis of free market with welfare state ideals of social safety and social justice, and it's called social market economy. The free market part in this system includes economic competition, that is, free competition of supply and demand, and also free markets, free access to markets, the protection of freedom to make contracts, and relative stability of economic politics that guarantees safety for investments. To ensure social justice, the government corrects income distribution through relatively high taxes that may be up to 45% of your income. In addition, there are minimum social standards such as wages, working and time regulations, regulations on working women and children, and anti-monopoly legislation. German economy is characterized by highly skilled labor force and high level of technological advancement. German products, goods produced in Germany, have reputation for their quality, durability, and reliability all around the world. And I know that in Russia and in some other countries, companies that produce electronics or home appliances, for example, sometimes choose German-sounding brand names to capitalize on the reputation of German products. For example, Borg, it is a Chinese brand that has nothing to do with Germany, but because of its German-sounding name, people tend to think that it has. In terms of political system, Germany is a democracy, and it is among the most free countries in the world in terms of political rights and civil liberties. The development of public relations in Germany was shaped by numerous historical conditions, and I'll briefly review the recent history of Germany starting from the end of the 19th century. This was not a peaceful time in Europe, and there were ongoing tensions between the great powers, including Britain, France, Russia, Germany, Austria-Hungary, and some less powerful countries. And they all had imperial ambitions, all wanted to dominate Europe, all participated in arms races, so no nation could actually feel secure at that time. I'm afraid to oversimplify the historical developments, but I just wanted to give you an idea of kind of what was going on. So in order to handle the situation and mitigate potential dangers, countries formed alliances with those whom they feared the least. So Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy all feared France and Russia for various reasons. So they allied in order to protect their own interests. I think this was a turning point in German history. In the 1914, Austrian Prince Franz Ferdinand was assassinated in Serbia, so Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia. Germany, on one hand, saw it as a chance or an opportunity to establish its hegemony in Europe, and on the other hand, it was bounded by the treaty where it promised to support Austria-Hungary in case of war, and Italy had no such treaty, it only promised to remain neutral. So either way, Germany had no choice but to participate in that war, which later became known as the First World War. As you know, Germany and its allies lost the war, and the country was forced to sign the Treaty of Versailles, Versailles on very harsh and humiliating conditions. It lost the lion's share of its territory. It was forced to completely disarm and pay huge reparations to the victors. At that time, many academics, politicians, and economists argued that the conditions of the treaty were too harsh and that it would eventually lead to a disaster, but nobody listened to them. So the treaty had a profound negative impact on the German economy and led to hyperinflation and deterioration of living standards. And then comes Hitler. He promises to fix everything and return a status of superpower to Germany. And given his extraordinary persuasion skills and the fact that he actually began to deliver his promises, Germans supported him. So the Second World War, as you also probably know, ended by a complete capitulation of Germany, followed by the partition of the country into West Germany, controlled by capitalist countries, and East Germany, controlled by the USSR. And the nation remained separated for 45 years and eventually reunited in the 1989. Subsequent rapid integration and economic development made Germany a superpower and the leader of the European Union. Not surprisingly, the history of public relations is inseparable from the political history of Germany. There were multiple stages in the evolution of German PR. The first press offices were established in Germany in the second half of the 19th century when press censorship in the country was officially abolished. Partisan media developed at that time, so the major public relations function was the political one. In the second period, during the First World War, there was one outstanding national public relations campaign, the Loan Campaign, to raise funds for financing the war. And also corporate public relations were affected by war, with companies more or less supporting their employees on the front with employee magazines. Can you imagine that? At the end of the war and the establishment of the democratic Weimar Republic, public relations made a great stride in Germany. A significant number of press offices and news bureaus came into being, and the economic boom of the 20s convinced businessmen to carry out active public relations. In contrast, the period of the Nazi dictatorship was definitely a step backward to the entire field of public communication. Media were tightly controlled by the Reich Ministry of Public Information and Propaganda, and all media were exploited to advance the Nazi doctrine. Correspondingly, public relations were propagandistic in nature. The media were cleared of Jewish journalists, and strict penalties were introduced to punish people who did not write stories that would please the Nazis. After the Second World War, public relations field in West Germany, which was controlled by the United Kingdom and the United States, was reborn. Besides German advertising and public relations agencies, branches of American agencies also started to operate in West Germany. And of course, democratization and the established free market also contributed to the development of the field. The first professional associations were established in Germany between the 1958 and 1985. Until the late 60s, public relations was understood in Germany simply as advertising. But it changed in the 80s when industrial and economic boom resulted in social tensions between producers and customers, including environmental activism. And customers became more demanding, and therefore the dialogue with them became crucial. Since the 1985, the field is booming in Germany. It is characterized by a strong development of agencies, increasing professionalization and specialization, and development of academic public relations in establishment of public relations as a science. Among the important trends in the development of public relations in Germany, it is worth mentioning that the image of the profession is steadily improving. While previously there had been negative connotations in the German terms for public relations, now it is called Öffentlichkeitsarbeit, which means openliness work. Public relations is taught at universities and even at vocational schools in Germany. However, by the year of 2000, there were less than 20% of practitioners who had a degree in public relations. Another positive trend in Germany is that PR is widely recognized as a management function. As early as in 1994, a large representative survey of businessmen revealed that 71% of them ranked PR as a management function. In addition, in the 1997, 68% of practitioners in Germany held a leading position in the organizational structure. So if you want to practice abroad, I would definitely suggest Germany.